I'd like to welcome and thank you for your time in joining me as Dr. Victoria Hurt, and today we'll be speaking on the art of wisdom. I'd like to pause and take a moment of prayer, please, and you're welcome to bow your head and join me, or just take a moment of silence. I'd like to ask the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in your sight. I'd like to share with you that my information comes from many studies, yet mainly from the Bible, A Course in Miracles, and the wisdoms of world religions related to the laws of life or the spiritual laws of life. It's something that I'm very passionate about, so I hope and pray that the words at least allow you to leave, if not at least thinking, feeling a little bit better. So let's begin. Proverbs says, don't ever think you are wise enough in Proverbs 3:7. And in the wise text, the Dhammapada, it quotes, learn to be wise, train your senses, and be content, unquote. In antiquity, philosophers walked along the shores of the Mediterranean, pondering the mysteries of life as they looked into the starlit skies. Today, people gather in churches and classrooms, retreats, workshops, and discussion groups to ponder the same perennial questions. What is the best way to live? How large is God? How can finite beings be related to the infinite? What was God's promise in creating the universe? And how can we be helpful? These ageless questions can inspire people today, just as they have inspired people throughout the ages, linking the human soul to philosophy and to the love of wisdom. Some have likened the desire for greater wisdom to an ancient inner urge, similar to the longing of the lost for the return home, or to the desire of the unfulfilled for spiritual sustenance. The genius of the universe, which created us, and seems to have instilled a portion of that genius within us, each and every one of us. When we dare to reach beyond our comfort zone into life and declare that this great drama may be enacting through us, are we glad to be helpers in the acceleration of the divinity of creativity? And are we wise enough to assist this genius in whatever way possible? Life builds its center and focus around rhythms, change, times of rest, times of activity, growing, unfolding, listening, searching, and producing. As intelligent beings, included in our makeup is an ability to listen, to notice what is happening around us, and to be in tune with the rhythm of our flow of our lives. When we are continually in the process of growth, things happen, life changes, and we might ask, what do I do now? What's the next step? An important thing to remember is that we are never wise enough. There is always something to learn. A businessman set himself the goal to learn something new every day. I've heard this from a few people that I know personally. This businessman felt that it was important to not let a day pass without learning the meaning of an unfamiliar word, without a new insight, without experiencing a fresh taste, thought, or sensation. He felt that among those who achieve success would be the ones who use their time wisely for self-improvement, greater productivity, and continue learning. He also felt that the successful people sought information and advice more frequently than they gave it. Now that's something to ponder over. Can you imagine what it would be like to improve on all levels of your being and in all aspects of your life? How would it feel to know that you were making a real contribution to your world? Would it be uplifting to feel that because of you, your work in someone's life was blessed? Or that the whole universe was positively amplified because you are a part of it? These are not unrealistic questions. The Talmud asks, quote, who is a wise man? And answers, quote, he who learns of all men, unquote. To increase in wisdom, we must be willing to suspend our personal beliefs about something, to set aside our prejudices, and to think with an open mind. It is important to expand our awareness, parameters, and to learn in many different areas from a variety of sources, even at the risk of looking foolish or being embarrassed. Are we ready to admit that we may not know the answers to everything and become willing to learn? Learning is a desirable process that might include making mistakes along the way and along this road to greater knowledge. But the overall results can be life challenging. True wisdom acknowledges that the more we learn about a subject, the more interesting it becomes and the more there is to learn. We may have heard someone one day say, quote, "I learned my lesson. I'll never do that again," unquote. But how often do we hear the comment, quote, "That was a beautiful lesson. And even though it was uncomfortable at the time, I learned a great deal. With this new awareness, I can choose differently so I won't make that mistake again," unquote. The sincere willingness to take a reflective look at experiences that may have seemed like mistakes can be the first, perhaps most important step we take to make future experiences more beneficial. The fruitfulness of our day-to-day lives, especially in this rapidly changing world situations, can very much depend on making wise decisions. Greater wisdom is necessary for every person who considers himself or herself first and foremost a helper of the human family, and who desires to see things in a larger perspective. Norman Cousins once said, "Fortunately or otherwise, we live at a time when the average individual has to know several times as much in order to keep informed as he did only maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago. Being quote-unquote educated today requires not only more than a superficial knowledge of the arts and sciences, but a sense of interrelationship such is taught in few schools. Finally, being quote-unquote educated today in terms of the larger needs means preparation for world citizenship. In short, education for survival, especially in today's times with the healthcare system, homelessness, and all of these major concerns. It's basically time for us to band together and get smart and bring our talents and skills together to make this world a better place. I am Ask Dr. Victoria Hart, and my purpose is to help you with your purpose through the spiritual laws that I consider are great and the principles that are before us. I do want you to know that I believe that you have a purpose for being, and no matter how far-fetched it is, I believe in it with you, and I stand that it coming true and doing all that is possible. So just believe. And thank you for tuning in today. Good night.